Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today, if you guys, there's another Star Wars review. Today we're tackling the brand new Star Wars show, Ahsoka, or maybe I shouldn't say brand new, but yeah, I know I'm a little bit late. School, life, I get it. It's hard to watch like an hour-long episode when you got stuff to do. But the way I'm going to review this is there's 8 episodes in total. I have seen episode 1 and 2, which we'll be reviewing today. Episode 3 and 4, I still have to watch. At the time of, I don't know when this is going to be up, but 4 is either out or will be out within like a day or so. So basically, I will watch 2, review until the end. So this is episode 1 and 2. If you have not seen the Ahsoka TV show, it's on Disney Plus right now. Make sure you go and watch it if you have access to that. If you don't care about spoilers, whatever. I kind of do have to spoil it because it's, you know, otherwise I'd just be like, alright, it's good, bye. You know what I mean? Episodes are a bit different than movies because they're a little shorter. So again, if you have not seen the Ahsoka show, I highly recommend you watch it. And, you know, go ahead and then come back and watch this. But anyway, if you like this content, you like Star Wars content, again, I'm a YouTuber that, or I'm just a person that loves all Star Wars. I love the prequels, the originals, the sequels, everything about Star Wars I genuinely love. So make sure to like, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Again, it takes 1 second, free, helps me out a ton. So, regarding Ahsoka, this is really, you know, it's Ahsoka Season 1, but this is really Star Wars Rebels Season 5, essentially. You need to see Star Wars Rebels. Like, you have to. It's just, it's a beautifully made show. It's a fantastic Star Wars show, but you need to see it. If you want to watch Ahsoka, if you want to understand the characters and the plots and the character arcs and the motivations and anything regarding this franchise and the show, you need to watch the Rebels show. It's just like a prerequisite. You got to do it. It's like mandatory. If you don't, you're not going to know what the heck's going on. You're going to be all confused, and you're just hurting yourself. Star Wars Rebels, hell, the Clone Wars is great too, but Star Wars Rebels is a fantastic show. And when that show ends, it leads off right into this show. So you kind of have to watch that. But if you haven't, I guess enter at your own risk, I guess. But you kind of have to, I guess. So with this going forward, you know, Thrawn against Rebels. Spoilers, obviously it's old, you know, what are you going to do, sorry. But Rebels kind of ends with I guess, Thrawn, Grand Admiral Thrawn, kind of lost in space along with Ezra Bridger. Now, we saw in, like, Season 2 of The Mandalorian, Ahsoka was fighting the Magistrate, which we now know is, you know, a witch from Dathomir, Morgan Elsbeth, I think her name is, and, you know, she's like, okay, where, you know, in Mandalorian Season 2, Ahsoka's like, where's Grand Admiral Thrawn? And the whole internet freaked out, and I kind of freaked out. And with that, you move forward, and it's like, okay, well, where is Thrawn? Like, theoretically, you know, actually, like, you know, physically, where the fudge is he? So we see him in the trailer, and at the time of watching just the first two episodes of the show, I have not seen him yet. I know he's in the trailer, but, you know, the whole kind of aspect of the show is basically Ahsoka Tano and, you know, kind of recruiting the help of Sabine Wren, Hera Syndulla, Chopper. I don't know where Zeb is. He might show up. I don't know. But they're kind of they're trying to locate this map. Kind of like how Poe and Laura Santeca were trying to find Luke. You know, Luke, essentially, he didn't leave a map to where he was. I know people say, why would Luke leave a map if he didn't want to be found? But if you actually pay attention to the movies, you know, Leia does mention that this is where they think Luke is, not where he actually is. He actually was there, but they didn't know that. They were just having a high hope that he was there. Turns out he was. But basically, in this, it's kind of the same thing. Where is Thrawn? Where's Ezra? This is a map that's kind of lead to a general location of where he is, and we have to decode it. And that's when Sabine comes in and all that, and all the hijinks ensue, and you get the, not the Sith, but they got like the orange lightsabers. You got Baylan Skoll, I believe, Ray Stevenson, who passed away sadly, and then you got the other, really hot chick, Ukrainian, and it's funny, her name is literally Shin Hati. They know what they're doing. Or Hati. I say Hati because she's a hottie. But it is really funny to see them kind of decimate these guys. And just, you know, they're not Sith, I don't think, because they have the orange lightsabers. I don't really know what their deal is quite yet. But it is still really cool that we're getting, you know, these new characters and themes and all that. Pretty awesome. When it comes to the actual plot, right now, it's fairly basic. You know, of course, Sabine gets stabbed. And, of course, she lives, obviously, because she you know, she's in the trailer. You know, she lives further than that. But it is still kind of cool. You know, I don't think she is Force sensitive. I do think that she definitely is good with a saber. Of course, it was Ezra's, but I don't think she's straight up, you know, full on and a Force user. If she is, that's fine. I don't know why the internet's freaking out. Again, a lot of people, you know, look at Finn, for example. He's Force sensitive. He found out kind of late in his life in the last movie, the sequels. So maybe that'll be expanded upon in, you know, the Rey Skywalker movie. Who knows? But basically, she gets pretty jacked up. And then from there, the map gets stolen, and then episode 2 kind of leaves off with more witch talk and all that, and trying to find things out, and then Ahsoka kind of goes off with Hera on these little adventures here, and I don't really know where episode 3 is going to end, but so far it's got a good plot, nothing too insane. It's just literally just find Ezra, find Thrawn, and kind of get the band back together and just kind of see where we're going from there. Nothing too insane, but it is interesting, it is intriguing, it is really well told, good writing, nothing woke. I do think that the Ahsoka character, Rosario Dawson, isn't necessarily the best. I think she's kind of okay. I never thought she was that great as Ahsoka. It's just weird because, whenever I hear Ahsoka, I hear Ashley Eckstein or Eckstein or whatever from the animated stuff. So to hear Rosario Dawson not try to replicate Ashley and just do Rosario Dawson's voice, it's just like watching the Haunted Mansion movie, but she's caked in makeup. That's all it is, you know what I mean? She's a good Ahsoka, she's a good actor, but she doesn't, to me, represent the Ahsoka character. I don't know why. She just doesn't. It is what it is. I don't know. I mean, she's not bad, but whatever. Regarding the other characters that transitioned from Rebels, to Ahsoka, really good stuff. I mean, I'm trying to think. I mean, really good stuff. I think that Hera Syndulla is really good. She was in Birds of Prey. Maybe she doesn't look exactly, but, it is what it is. You take liberties. I think she looks fine. Zeb, as we saw in Mandalorian Season 3, looks really good. Ezra looks really great. He sounds like Ezra. He acts like Ezra. I think that's really good. Of course, we only see him in a little tiny hologram form, but, he's in there, so I'm assuming he'll be in there, physically, human-wise. Who else? Thrawn from the trailer looks pretty good. The big one, though, is Sabine freaking Wren, baby. In the animated show, she almost looks Asian American, I guess, with, I don't want to do this, but it's got the eyes. I just thought she was Asian American. Turns out the actress that plays her in this show is Australian, but I don't know if they're trying to do that Asian American thing. She just kind of looks Asian American to me. I don't know. That's not a problem. It's just that's how she looked in the animated show. So her transitioning from the animated stuff to the live action stuff is really freaking good, I think. Not only is she really hot, but she's also a really good actress. That helps, right? She's a really good actress, and there's a few moments in there where I'm like, wow, you're really emotive, and you're really a good actor for what Sabine is trying to do. She has the long purple and green hair, or purple and orange hair, and then she cuts it. I don't know if it's a wig or not, but still, looks pretty good. So I do think that the general transition from the Rebels animated show to the Ahsoka live action show, pretty freaking good. I think the worst is probably Ahsoka. She just doesn't sound like how I would imagine Ahsoka to sound. She just talks like Rosario Dawson. I swear, I thought one of the guys, one of the higher-ups at Lucasfilm would have been like, hey, can you try to sound a little more like Ashley? Not just like, yeah, just do your voice. You know what I mean? I don't know. Kind of weird. But so far, I don't really have a whole lot of negatives besides that. And that's not really a negative of the show. It's just like how they cast Ahsoka. But I do think that, it's got good action, good CGI. There is a fight in the beginning of the first episode where Ahsoka fights like a bunch of like droid things. The animation on that was a little ropey, you know what I mean? I know it's a TV show. I know that, there's a shit ton of CGI. Like all of Star Wars right now is, either green screen or the volume with like the crazy LED lights or whatever. Looks like Christmas lights. So I get it. A lot of this is CGI. A lot of this takes time. A lot of it is expensive. And it's on a TV show budget. Not as well as, say, the sequels, for example, in terms of budget. It's up there, though. But in terms of that, though, I do think that maybe there's one or two scenes that kind of look a little bit wonky. But, that's a nitpick. Most of the time, every single Star Wars project live action on Disney Plus has looked 10 times better than anything the MCU has been putting out. I guarantee you that. So this looks really good. The action is really good. The lightsaber fights are really well choreographed, just like everything else in Star Wars has been pretty much. Really good action so far. Good new villains. I think it's kind of building on what we've gotten in the other live action and animated shows before. Again, I can't stress enough how important the animated content is. A lot of people don't want to watch that because it's animated and that's for babies, but it's objectively not. Animation is not a genre. It's a medium to tell your story. And the animated stuff is just as important, if not as more important, than the live-action material. And again, if you really want to get invested in the Ahsoka TV show, or just the Mandoverse, it's not the Mandoverse. It's not like a different canon. It's all in the same canon. But the Mandalorian era that we're in, you really do have to watch the animated content. Watch them all. I swear to God, the animated shows are better than the live-action shows. And I know some people that don't like animation won't agree, but they are very well made, and they're very well worth watching if you don't want to be lost and you care about the content and the canon and whatever. But you know, if you're just kind of like a general guy, I still would recommend you watching Rebels, but there's a lot of stuff that ends in that show, and then the end of Season 4 that just, boom, it goes right into this. And that's where a lot of the, you know, the nostalgia hits, you know what I mean? There's shots of, like, really slow, lingering shots of, like, Sabine in her little area, and you see, you know, like her Mandalorian helmet and stuff, and it's, you know, cool stuff like that. There are a few shots, I guess if I had to pick one negative of the first 2 episodes so far, there are certain aspects that it started in Mandalorian Season 1. Every live-action Star Wars show has this issue. It's a slight issue, but there's a lot, they try to, you know, make the live-action Star Wars show more mature, and the animated stuff is extremely mature. There's suicide, death, murder, swearing, blood, drug use, sex. It's all in the animated shows. They're not children shows. But they try, you know, they're more fast-paced in nature. Because you get, you know, Clone War episode or Rebel, you know, episode is, say, 20 minutes compared to this is what's like, you know, 50. So, you know, there are moments in this show and other live-action Star Wars shows where the camera pans in on something that's very slow. Or, you know, a character, they're just like, you know, like Sabine and Ahsoka meet for the first time in a while, and they just look at each other for like 30 seconds, it seems. And there's a shot where Sabine is looking, trying to decipher this you know, map. And she's a good actress, so, you know, you can tell she's working the inner machinations of her mind, you know, in that. And it looks pretty effing good. But at the same time, there were a few moments where I'm checking my phone, and I'm like, all right, let's effing pick it up. You know, I mean, there's a difference between being mature and you know, poignant, and then just being overtly slow and borderline effing boring. And that's what this show does. Just 1 or 2 times. Every Star Wars show did that. Boba Fett, Obi-Wan, Mandalorian especially. There's a scene in Season 2 where Mandalorian was like meeting that, you know, where the episode where they meet Ahsoka, and we find out Grogu's name is Grogu. That one guy working for the magistrate, Morgan Elsbeth, he's like, how's this gonna go? You know, how's this gonna go? I wonder who's winning. And they're just kind of staring at each other. You know, there's a lot of stuff in these live-action Star Wars shows that are slow and could very well borderline on boring. Thankfully, they're not. Some of them are dangerously close. So that's my only negative of Ahsoka episodes 1 and 2 so far. Mainly episode 1. Thankfully, right after that, you know, Sabine gets attacked and all that. And Shin Hati attacks her or whatever. Shit, Hati! You know, I mean, that's what I say. But I do think that this show is really well made so far. I mean, a lot of it focuses on Rebels and your nostalgia for that show and the, you know, I guess, Easter eggs and material from that going into this. So, you know, be advantage of that, you know, take advantage of that, and I've just, you know, take heed of that as well. If you haven't seen Rebels, which, again, I recommend you do wholeheartedly for the 100th time, you kind of have to watch that show to understand this one. There's a lot of stuff where if you haven't watched Rebels, you go, who the hell's this guy? Who's this chick? Who's Thrawn? You know, I mean, if you haven't read Legends, and you're just into canon like myself, I barely knew who the fudge Thrawn was. Thankfully, he's in the Rebels show a lot. He's like the main villain of that show. So there's a lot of stuff from that show that kind of bleeds into this in a really good way. There's some nostalgic factors in there. The action's good. The writing's good. The acting is good. So if I were to just say any negatives, Ahsoka, I don't really think that she is a good Ahsoka. That's just me, though. I just see Rosario Dawson, and I hear Rosario Dawson. Well, I don't see her. I hear her. I see Ahsoka, but you know what I'm saying. And then there's a few shots in there that could easily border on being kind of boring, and you know, I admit I was checking my phone once or twice, and then, you know, I hear a lightsaber indite, and I'm like, whoo! You know what I mean? So it's just, yeah, I get what you're doing. You're thinking, I get it. But you don't need to, like, methodically, like, she's opening a cube or, like, the, you know, the circular thing, and she, like, it's one shot. And she's like just twisting it slowly and slowly and slowly. You know what I mean? There's way to do a long shot and keep it interesting. Some of that wasn't there for me, at least in my opinion. But overall, I'd probably give Ahsoka episode 1 and 2, if I were to combine them, probably an 8.5 or maybe a 9. I think they're really well made so far. I cannot wait to dive into episode 3 tomorrow, and then episode 4 hopefully the next day or whatever. With school, homework, I did order Modern Warfare 2. The new one, because Offline Bots is a little better, so I'm going to see if I can record that. And then I also am getting Starfield on Wednesday as an early birthday gift, so I'm excited about that. They're each very long games, and well, not long, but, you know, they're about 100 gigs each, so you got to give me some time, all right? I'm not filming all of Starfield, and I'm not filming all of Modern Warfare 2, but I might film a little bit of both. I have an Offline Bots video that I want to talk about soon regarding Modern Warfare 2. But again, each game is like 100 effing gigabytes, so it's going to take like 3 or 4 hours to install. So be patient on that. And again, I am in school. I am doing a lot of homework. So, bear with me, but I'm trying to get as much content out as I can. Lego Star Wars 2, the original trilogy, will resume as well. I was going to record it at the time of recording this, but my PC was dead, and I didn't have time to charge it before I went to sleep. So I am getting more episodes. Don't worry, I'm going to do that more regularly. But overall, man, like I said, regarding, you know, the Ahsoka stuff and not my content and stuff coming up, Ahsoka's good. Again, I do highly recommend you watch Rebels so that you at least understand what's going on. But it's a fun show. It's funny. To a degree, I guess there's a few jokes from Chopper that work. Very action-packed and very exciting, and I can't wait to see where the show goes in episode 3 and 4. Again, I know I spoiled it because that's the video, but don't spoil anything in the comments because some people look at the comments first. Don't ruin episode. I know episode 3 is out, so don't ruin episode 3. I'm going to watch that as soon as I can. It's only about a half hour or so, so I'll be able to get that done. But again, in terms of review for this show, I'm reviewing 2 at a time. So once 4 comes out and I watch 3 and 4, I will be reviewing this as well. But so far, man, episode 1 and 2 of Ahsoka is pretty freaking rad. And just like all Star Wars, it's pretty good. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.